for our address because, as those of you perhaps have seen me preach before, I like to move about a bit. And so I have the joy of speaking to you today, and I will be focusing on our 10 Virgins passage. I want to tell you a little bit about my work ethic. I struggle with it. I am the king of procrastination. If I need to delay something, I can find 101 ways to just edge it that bit further away when I haven't quite got things set in my mind. Before I need that pressure. I don't know what you're like, if you like to get things done really early on in advance. But maybe you do. Maybe you plan out your research. Maybe you plan out the activities you've got to do all week. When it came to revision at school, I did not do well at timetabling my own time. I've had to learn. I've had to practice. I've had to make the effort to try and do more. But we all, I think, from time to time, struggle with managing our time. And time is what I think our Bible passage has something to say to us today. It's that time in between. We have all entered a new time in between with this lockdown. But what we see in our Bible passage are two approaches to a task, two approaches to time. We have time wasting, and we have time waited. So we have wasting and waiting. And how do we best make use of waiting or wasting? When we used to play football at school, we used to shout, "Time waster," for somebody who was deliberately just keeping things to themselves and not progressing the play. We do things in our own lives which we do just to get through a period of time, but it doesn't actually help anything move forwards. But then those who are waiting, those in our stories who waited, they came prepared for an action of topping up the lamp, prepared to do something, even if they didn't know how long they would have to do that thing for. Now, as the church, we are waiting. We are still waiting for God's kingdom to come in its fullness. But in that meantime, are we just going to waste our time? Because the wonderful thing about the kingdom is it is both immediate and drawing us forward to the future. We have stuff to do right now in this time of waiting. We have a message of joy, a message of hope, a message of love. Because we're not going to waste the time we have. During our act of remembrance today, we will remember those people who laid down their lives so that our lives might not be wasted in wasting time. When we come to communion, I wonder, when you receive communion, what do you do after that time? Do you sit down and just wait for the vicar to say the next thing? Or are you using that time to pray, to ask God for his transformation in our life? Well, we are in a time of waiting. We've been told a month for lockdown, but we have our flasks of oil ready just in case we have to go longer. And in this time, I wonder how you're going to use this time. Are you going to use this time of waiting to build up God's kingdom? To show love to other people? To be able to make that phone call to encourage that person so they don't feel alone? Or are you just going to waste it and just wait until it finishes so that we can get on with the next thing? The moment we are in is the thing. It is the thing where we can do things. Because waiting is active, waiting is prepared, waiting is doing. When we know what we're waiting for. And if all of us, because lockdown affects all of us, everything that's happening in the world is affecting us in different ways. But this isn't just on you, it's not just on the clergy, it's not just on individuals in society, it's on all of us. So what are we all going to do in this time of waiting? What if all of us chose to make one phone call to somebody else, to see how they're doing, to pray for them? What if all of us chose to send a card in the post, or we chose to phone somebody who isn't in the church? If we chose to put a sign in our window that shares something of God's love with the world? Because all of us together, waiting, actively waiting, can share something amazing about God's kingdom. So are you waiting or are you wasting? Amen.